Good afternoon, my name's Warren. I work at Daltons Wadkin, one of the trainers here. I'm going to show you how to install a chisel, a hollow box chisel into a DMV mortiser. It's a DMV mortiser purely and simply because it's got a vibration attachment to it to make the operation of it that little bit easier for hardwoods. First and foremost, we've got the chisel and the auger, which go together as a two-piece piece of equipment, and we want to be positioning it in such a way that it's going to be loaded into the machine ready for the working position. So we're going to sit using PPE, using the gloves, we're going to sit that in our hands. It is quite a sharp piece of equipment, so we do need to make sure that it's kept away from our fingers. We're going to load that into the machine using a collar around the chisel to fill up the space in there, and making sure that we've got the flat. These chisels, these augers, should have a flat ground on them so that it locates into the machine and gives it a positive drive. The whole idea of that is so that it doesn't actually spin in the chuck. So the flat on there would locate at the front. The collar with a split in it would locate facing the front also to line up with the split in the casting. We're going to put the chisel in with the hole in the chisel at the side. Doesn't matter which side it is, whether it's left or right, but we're going to have it at the side so that it exposes the side so that the chippings can be released from the chisel. The whole idea of that is that the chippings are released so that it doesn't create too much excessive heat and burst the chisel open through overheating. So to load that in, we're going to use it all in line with the flat at the front, split at the front, load it in as best we possibly can into the machine, pushing that in. A little trick that we use is a 2p piece in between the collar and the shoulder of the chisel, purely and simply just to give it a little bit of gap, and I'll come back to that in a moment. I'm pushing the chisel into the chuck there. I'm going to tighten that grub screw onto the flat of the chisel. That gives it positive drive onto the flat of the auger. That gives it positive drive. That's located, but we still need to locate the chisel itself. So we're going to take the 2p piece out. What that's now going to give us is a little bit of play there so that the chisel can have a gap equal to a 2p piece between the bottom of the chisel and the auger itself. Using the spanner, we can just nip that up. What I'm going to do now is bring the equipment down to the fence level so we can just square that off to the fence itself, making sure it's all the way into the machine. We can now tighten that up. Make sure that's nice and tight. Just double check to make sure that's nice and tight. The chuck. That will then make it ready for use. All of this work is done whilst the power is switched off. This machine at the moment is not connected to the power, so it's all nice and safe. You would never actually attempt to do this with the power on the machine. There is, as I mentioned earlier, a vibration action to this machine. We've done this, we've loaded the auger and chisel into the machine with the vibration attachment switched off. You'd always do it in the off position. That way then you're locating it in the right place. In the on position, you might see that the movement of the chisel allows for even further gaps to be applied to the tooling. But that just allows the machine to do the vibration action so it's easier to cut with hardwoods. So at this point, this would now be ready to clear the tools away and set the machine up for use.